I hope you don't wait to give me roses. Please don't take too long to think that you should know me. Please, for real. Please don't wait too long to tell me I'm the shit, yo. See you flourish, looking salty, throwing bitch, yo.
Welcome to another episode of Opinionated Facts. I'm your host Drizzle, and today we got a very special guest in the building, Fairen Kia, founder, owner, CEO, anything and everything that has to do with Lovethybelly. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right. Can't complain. So, how did you come up with the name Lovethybelly? I'm kind of big on like cool names and stuff. It's like when I first seen it, I was like, okay, that's kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? So like, how did you get to that name? Like, would it start there originally, or was it another name at first? Like, what was the process?
So actually, it was always Lovethybelly. It just wasn't always what it is now. It started out as just me hashtagging my pictures, and I've always had this affinity for like old English and older language. And I guess originally I would say things like I love my body or I love my belly, but I never like made it in terms of the campaign or the movement or the hashtag. I would just say that. And then one day I was like, well, love thy belly, because thy means my or of mine. And so it's to be used for other people as well, right? So you were saying love thy belly, so you were saying that you love your belly.
Okay. So what is your, as you say, like, what is like your goal? Like, what is your mission with the brand Lovethybelly?
Absolutely. So the mission of Lovethybelly is to encourage everybody to love themselves for who they are as they are in this moment. A lot of times people struggle with their body image and their body confidence and learning their body, understanding their body, and loving their body. And I personally struggled with that. So Love Thy Belly was, for me, it was like a fuck you to society, saying that someone who looked like me or someone whose body was like mine was somehow unattractive, or other synonyms that people would use in terms of something that was gross or disgusting or undesirable. And it was, for me, it was like a fuck you to everybody. And then specifically it was for the abusive relationship that I was in.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm a bigger guy as well. So like growing up, like what was it like growing up? Because I'm pretty sure, I know as a bigger man or bigger boy as a kid, they always say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You gonna grow up. It's gonna turn into muscle. Like like you're not gonna be the fat kid when you get older. When you get older, you're gonna be muscle. You're gonna be built." So just thinking as a little boy, I'm like, okay, it's gonna turn into muscle. So it's gonna turn into muscle. You know, which it can if you work towards that, but it just doesn't just always turn into muscle.
Yeah.
But I feel like that the message towards younger girls is different. Like they're not necessarily told that in the future it's gonna be better. Like you're fine, and as you get older, it's gonna get better. Whereas I think for younger girls, heavier girls, it's always it's not enforced or like empowered.
Yeah. So when speaking in terms of the binary of men and women, there is a very distinct difference in the messages and the things we're saying to them, right? So like, again, speaking in the binary, little girls are usually told things like, oh, you're big boned, or you're not fat, you're beautiful. And you're reinforcing this idea that there's something inherently wrong with them because they're fat. And so saying things like, you're not fat, you're beautiful, to me, and the message that we also a lot of times send to little girls is to say that they're wrong the way they are right now. So for me, I usually got, you're not fat, you're beautiful, or I would get, you're just big boned, or things that made fatness seem like it was wrong, and that it was inherently wrong. It was disgusting, or it was undesirable again. And then once you're told that so many times, you start to become that, and you start to feel that way about yourself. Okay. So that's kind of how that was for me. And I mean, I got picked on a little bit by kids in school too, right? I like the fat jokes, and I can't think of like a fat joke in this moment that I experienced as a kid. Yeah. But there were fat jokes, and then a lot of times I would experience things of like being the girl who never got asked to the dances, or the girl who never got asked to dance at the dances, or never got asked out on a date. Those kinds of things. Those were a lot of my experiences.
Okay. Okay. Now, do you think those like experiences kind of help fuel and like your passion for this in the past?
So in 2015, I realized that I had been spending my entire life hating myself and hating my body. I'd been feeling like I was this prisoner trapped in my body, and that I was telling myself that my body was holding me back from things, and because of my body, I couldn't accomplish this or I couldn't do this. And then in 2015, I sat down, I wrote a letter to my body, and I apologized to my body for teaching it that everything that I had been experiencing were things that I deserved, and the love, or what I thought was love, that I had been experiencing from people was something that I deserved. And I wrote this letter and apologized to my body for hating it for as long as I did, and told myself that I would spend every ounce of the time that I'd already spent hating myself, loving myself. And that would be something that I had to wake up and do very intentionally every single day.
What I guess you say obstacles have you, like any type of kickback have you gotten from this being your message? Because I'm pretty sure there's people that are going to be turned off for it just because of what it is, how they were raised, what they believe in. They feel like maybe you might be enabling, or they feel like, oh, you shouldn't think that way. Like there's another way to go about it. Like what are the kickbacks that you have received?
So everybody always says that I'm promoting an unhealthy lifestyle because they're not actually listening to my message. My message is a full, whole, healthy person, which would be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, right? So if you're spending every single waking moment of your life figuring out ways to hate yourself and go against yourself and tell yourself all of these negative things about yourself, you're depriving yourself of a spiritual and mental and emotional experience of love, right? So if you're doing these things, you're not actually being a full, whole, healthy person. So you can work out every single day and eat the things that you want to eat and take care of your body and do all the things that you were told to do that will make you physically better, and still gain some mental stability and mental health and wellness from that. But if you're telling yourself that you hate yourself while you're doing it, then you're counteracting everything. I actually went on a physical health journey. And I would work out 2 times a day. I would eat clean, right? So I was only eating vegetables and protein and drinking water and doing these things. And in doing all of this, I would, again, work out twice a day. So I would beat myself up about working out. I was working out because I felt like I had to do it, not because it was something that I actually truly wanted to do, right? So anytime I would miss some time at the gym, I'm telling myself how horrible of a person I am, and that I'm bad that I'm eating these foods, and that I'm bad that I'm missing the gym. And so I'm feeding into these negative thoughts and these negative things. And so I'm fueling my body with negativity, because I'm telling my body I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to be, because I'm telling my body that I'm doing all of these things to change myself for other people, or if I'm not doing these things, that I'm wrong for not doing these things. So then you're going on this journey, but while on it, you're still being mean to yourself. And your brain cannot separate when you're being sarcastic or when you don't actually mean something. Your brain can't separate that. So if you're saying things like, I hate you, or you don't look like this, or you're doing these things and you're bad for this, well, your brain starts to believe that. And your body will, because your brain believes it, it holds it in your body. So now you've traumatized your body by telling your body all of the things that's wrong with it, or all the ways you were bad towards your body. Or like if you say things like, I can't eat that because then I'm bad if I eat that, or that's bad food to eat. You're liking everything that you're doing to something negative and something wrong.
Okay. Now that kind of segues into my next
That's a long answer.
No, because I remember it might have been 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember. But I remember you made a Facebook post and you said,
probably something crazy.
Well, you said something along the lines of going to the gym every day is fat phobic. Something along the lines of that, but
it wasn't exactly that. I kind of know.
It was a while ago. Though. It was a while ago, and I remember, and I was like, "Well, that's crazy," you know. So I was like, I usually don't comment on people, so I said, "Let me comment," you know, because for me myself, like everybody goes through their own journeys, and everybody has their own way of dealing with it. And like you said, you know, your brain can't necessarily separate when you're being sarcastic or, you know, being honest with yourself. You say things like, oh, I hate myself, or I hate my body, or whatever. But there was a period of time, me personally, when I got up to like 330, and I've never been that big before. And I was like, I didn't feel like myself. Like my clothes still fit, but you know, I could tell that I was heavier than I've ever been. I could feel it, you know, it was just weird. So I was like, I gotta get right, you know, and I had to like mentally tell myself like, yeah, I'm not a bad person if I miss the gym, but I got to tell myself, like, you got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, if I miss today, I got to make sure I go the next 5-6 days because I did miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was kind of like just holding myself accountable. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, but it definitely, I did have a period of time where I was just like, I don't say I didn't like myself, but I definitely was like, it is what it is. You know, I don't think I got depressed or really, really down, but I was kind of looking at myself like, oh, I can't wear certain things because I'm a bigger person, or, you know, that color, I'm too big to be wearing yellow. You know what I'm saying? I'm too big to wear bright colors because I'm big as hell. You know what I'm saying? So the bright colors going to make me look bigger. You know, I'm not trying to look bigger, you know? Yeah. And so it's like things of that would play in my head. And, you know, so it's like it took, now with the way you explained it, in the moment when I saw the post, I was like, she's tripping.
I was trolling, man. I don't remember exactly what it said, but I know what you're talking about, and I absolutely was trolling.
But when you explain it and when you add dialogue and context to it, when, of course, feelings are not involved, you know, it's easier to understand people when you don't have no feelings involved. Now I can see where you're coming from when you say that, because it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Like, a part of holding yourself accountable is kind of telling yourself the ugly truth, even if it is sarcastic, but you still have to kind of do it, maybe for some people, to either push through or just, like I said, just be aware that, okay, I do have to do better. Like, I know I am human. I love cookies. I'm gonna eat all these cookies, you know what I'm saying? But then tomorrow I gotta get to it, you know, and then hold yourself to that, you know, make it like a little mini daily goal. And that's kind of what I did, and it helped me a lot. Like I said, everybody's different, but now that I kind of see where you were coming from, you had a context, I can see that is a thing in a sense.
So again, I don't remember exactly what the because it was a tweet that I saw, and I just reposted it to Facebook. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was to the idea of, if you are saying I have to go to the gym so I won't be fat, if you are saying I can't eat like this or I will become fat, if you are saying I don't want to look like this, it makes me look fat. When you're saying those things, you are inherently being fat phobic, because what you're saying is you have a fear or an aversion to fatness, right? So then that's what phobias are, right? They're fears and aversions to something. So if you're doing everything you can to avoid something, to that avoidance of something, you're being phobic. So if your avoidance of fatness is because of this fear of becoming fat, or this avoidance of trying to not look fat, then that in turn is fat phobic. And there's a lot of phobias that people experience based off of, again, their aversions or fears of doing those things or becoming those things, or being likened to those things, right? So then you're saying that there is something wrong with fatness generally. And what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with fatness generally if you have a specific way that you want to look, or you have a specific way that you want to be for you personally, and it has nothing to do with a societal standard or expectation. And it's just like Dre was talking about, or like you were saying, that you didn't feel good. Well, that's what Lovethybelly is about. It's about you feeling good. What makes you feel good? What fuels you to feel good? If feeling good means that you want to wake up because the sun is up and you want to go out for a run, do that. Movement is good for everybody, right? Like we like babies do tummy time. So movement is good for anyone who is physically able to move in whatever the capacity is, right? So if you're someone who can only move your legs, or you can only move your arms, you can only move your fingers or your toes, whatever it is that you have the capacity to move, movement is good for everybody. But if your idea is, I'm doing this so I don't look like this, then yes, that is fat phobic.
Copy. Yeah, I understand. Now what things have you achieved with Lovethybelly since
being a bad for me personally, my achievement has really been feeling confident in my body and understanding that my body changes. Everybody's body changes, right? What I looked like when I was 12 years old, I definitely don't look that way now. I'm 31. I don't look the way I did when I was 25, and I definitely don't feel the way I did when I was 25. That's another story. But so for me, it's been building self-confidence for myself, and then also like learning that everybody has body image issues, right? Like in my head, these people who are this societal standard of acceptable beauty, they have come to me or talked to me or come to any of my workshops and events and told me about their own body insecurities that they struggle with. And in my head, I'm like, what? You are literally this like, if I were to put you in a magazine, everyone's going to buy this magazine because you are the societal standard of beauty. But that's what in this work that I've done, and this body positivity work and this fat work that I've done, is I've learned that people struggle with body image in a lot of different ways and for a lot of different reasons. A lot of times not women, but people who are able to give birth into people who are able to have babies, house babies in a womb, a lot of their bodies change during before the pregnancy, then the duration of the pregnancy, and after the pregnancy. And so a lot of times those bodies will talk to me about the experiences that they've had with like having to notice that their body was changing in ways that they never could have imagined that their body would change. And so a lot of Lovethybelly is accepting that your body is going to change. And sometimes the changes are changes that you want, and sometimes the changes are changes that you don't want. And so it's about learning to love and accept your body as it is in this moment, and the steps and the tools and the strategies that you can do in order to do so.
Okay. Now, what about the achievements as far as for the brand and the company itself?
All right. So we started out literally as me hashtagging my pictures, being like everybody is what I want to say. And people seeing those posts and me being very publicly transparent about my own experience with my body changing and my own self-love journey. And people were messaging me and texting me and letting me know their own personal testimonies behind it. And so it started out as this hashtag on my pictures and continued to turn into a campaign of learning your body and accepting your body and loving your body. And then became, some people started calling it a movement. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm just, just talking. This is me talking, right? I'm just talking to you all about my life. And so it turned into that. And then I don't know exactly who it was, but someone told me that I should write about my experiences in a book. And so in 2019, I self-published my first book, Dear Fat Girls When Love Wasn't Enough. And it's a culmination of self-affirmations for one's body. And so the book itself is about my own personal struggle with myself, and then my struggles that I experienced in a relationship that I was once in, and then societal pressures and expectations that a lot of us experience, not just me, but bodies who look like me or bodies in general experience a lot of times. And so it became, the book became something, and I wanted to do a podcast. So then I started a podcast, and a few people reached out to me about workshops. So I did a few workshops, body image workshops is what I generally do. And I have ones for younger kids, elementary age, all the way up to 70 years old. The demographics that I've actually been able to work with have been 3-year-olds to 70-plus-year-olds. And so each workshop and each event is specific for that age range or specific for that type of demographic that I'm working with. So I've been able to host workshops and host events and do photo shoots. Film is the next thing we're getting into. So fashion, we've done a lot of different fashion events. And the goal is to put plus size, fat, and large bodies in multimedia forms and representing these bodies in ways that they're not necessarily always, they're generally underrepresented or not necessarily represented at all.
Okay. Now, before we get out of here, where do you think the brand and the platform will be in the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years.
Like, what's your goal?
The goal is to definitely be a global brand, right? And have essentially, this is like, I call it, it's something that I funnily call it. I call it your one-stop fat shop, right? So any and all things fat you get to experience here. A lot of times for fat and large bodies, we get like really negative things said to us, like in medical fields, and there's a lot of misunderstandings about fat and large bodies. A lot of times we're acting to being like lazy, or being obese is something that you can't overcome, or that it's I think they call it something like a death something, or like I don't know, like you're gonna like morbid obese, you're like going to die, is a lot of times what a lot of medical professionals will say. And so ideally what I want it to be is this thing where we are counteracting all of the misunderstandings that exist about fat and large bodies. And so whether that be in medical fields and in the media or in film, anywhere other bodies are generally represented, that's what I see for Love Thy Belly. It's just like, you can, if you want to be a model, you come here to the agency, we'll get you linked up, get you in on the cover of Vogue, there's all these large platforms. I'm going to have my own talk show, okay? What did Carisha say? She's going to be the next Black Oprah. Well, I'll be the next Black Carisha.
All right, I know you crunch for time, so you got any shout outs you want to give?
Shout outs to me. No, shout out to everybody who has been supporting Love Thy Belly in any form capacity, whether you've shared a post or liked a post or came to an event or you donated to the Love Thy Belly Scholarship Fund, which you can do on lovethybelly.org. If you go ahead and click Want a Book, there is a link where you can donate to the Love Thy Belly Scholarship Fund. Our scholarship fund does help any individual who is fat, Black, and queer in middle school age range, because a lot of times our middle schoolers get left out of these kind of like wraparound services. And so money goes directly to the child to help them really just with anything, right? Like everybody needs money. We are in a depression, a recession, all the things. We're depressed, we're recessed, we're the things. So the money goes to helping them. So if you go on lovethybelly.org, you can donate to the Love Thy Belly Scholarship Fund to help a middle school age child. And then also you can check me out on any social media platforms at Love Thy Belly.
Okay. And any lasting words? As far as, not a shout out, but
no, you're good.
Words of wisdom.
Absolutely. Own every space you enter. Anytime you walk into a room, you own that room. That is your room, no matter what you look like, what you come from, where you've come from. When you walk into that room, own that shit. Ooh, can I say that? Own that stuff.
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate you letting me come and do this. Like I said, it was insightful. It was fun. It was just good seeing you. Ain't seen you in a while.
I know, right?
But this has been another episode of Opinionated Facts, and we're out. Peace.
I hope you don't wait to give me roses. Please don't take too long to think that you should know me. Please, for real. Please don't wait too long to tell me I'm the shit, yo. See you flourish, looking salty, throwing fish, yo. Then you bury, getting lonely, wanna miss, yo. Get from around me, you clowny, you looking needy.